So, welcome everybody to the Civic Hall. This is one of the most important days of the year in one of the most important weeks, Learning Disability Week. Today, we hand over to you. We want to listen to you and hear what you have to say about services in Leeds. What do you like? What could be done better? I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions and all about what we should do on the 5 main points of the Learning Disability Strategy: being well, being safe, being connected, socially, in employment and in travel. Leeds City Council needs to know what you think. Then together we can fight to remove discrimination. Together we can smash stigma. Together we can create a fairer society. This year, Learning Disability Week is all about putting an end to all the myths and lies about people with learning disabilities and showing what you can do. Thinking of myself, I've worked a lot with people with learning disabilities. Before I was a councillor, and then before I became Lord Mayor of Leeds, I was with an organisation called Vera Media. We did media work and made films and videos with people with learning disabilities. Everyone learnt to use cameras, to record sound with microphones, to plan and create stories and scripts, and to interview each other. The resulting films were always shown during Learning Disability Week at the Armley Industrial Museum. And so I know a lot about all the brilliant things that people with learning disabilities can do. As does my Lady Mayoress, Angela Gabriel, who's a former councillor and lives very near me in Beeston. So I'm going to sit next to Em here and co-chair the meeting. I'll be taking turns with her to introduce you when you speak. So, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm the chair of People's Parliament, and we're going to enjoy the day today, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. But first of all, I just want to go through some ground rules. Listen to each other, respect each other, phones on silent, don't talk over each other, have patience with each other, and avoid personal questions. All experiences are valid. First, we're going to have Dom and Robert from Forum Central talking about employment. Dom, over to you.
Dom and Robert from Forum Central. Over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Robert, and I'm an employment coordinator for Leeds Autism and Learning Disability Employment Task Group at Forum Central.
And hi, I'm Dominique Bailey. I'm Senior Development Worker for Learning Disability at Forum Central.
We can sit down.
Want to sit down?
Yeah.
Yeah, sit down, it's all right.
We lead on the Leeds Autism and Learning Disability Employment Task Group. The task group used to be around learning disabilities only, but now we also include autistic people. The task group meets quarterly every 3 months on Zoom. We work to get more people with lived experience into paid employment and help people work in partnership. And if you want to join the task group, you can come and speak to us after.
And we also wanted to update you on some of the work that the task group's been doing over the past year. So first of all, I was going to hand over to Nikki, if you could please tell us a little bit more about the employability film and the screening event, which some of you might have gone along to.
Yeah, that's fine. Is my mic? Yeah. So my name is Nikki and I am the Autism and Learning Disability Digital Inclusion Coordinator, which is a bit of a mouthful. So my team work for Leeds City Council, but I am based at Pyramid of Arts. And the work that I do is I go to different organisations all around the city and I support people to help the people that they're working with to get online, whether that's helping them to get a SIM card or a device, or whether it's helping them to upskill, or whether it's helping staff to upskill so that they can help people with learning disabilities or autistic people getting online. One thing that I feel really passionately about is employment, because I do think that digital inclusion and employment go hand in hand, because it's really hard to find a job and stay in a job if you don't have internet access or if you don't have some skills online. So I've been involved in various pieces of work. I suppose the first one that I started on was with the Developing You course. So that was doing work to make sure that everybody who attended the Developing You course, which was a 12-week course on employability and well-being. So I did a lot of work on that, making sure that people were able to get online. And that really got me thinking, you know, I think there's something like 5% of people with learning disabilities nationally are in work, which is such a small number. And I was being around lots of people with learning disabilities who were expressing that they really wanted to work. And I could see that they had loads of skills, they had loads of experience to bring to the workplace. And it, you know, it really frustrated me. So with one of the people from the Developing You course, we applied for a grant of £5,000 from a global organisation called Inclusion International. So with that £5,000, 5 people who were members of Pyramid, who all had learning disabilities, and myself and another worker from Pyramid, worked together to make a film on why inclusive employment is really important and what employers can do in order to make their workplaces more inclusive with people with learning disabilities. Obviously, because my job is a digital inclusion, the film also had sort of little bits in it about accessible technologies and how employers can use sort of technology to help people to get online, to get into work. So we worked on this film and we went to all different organisations around the city who were really, really helpful and really inspiring. So places like Cafe Leap, we worked very closely with the NHS Involvement Learning Disability team. We worked with the Thackeray Museum, we worked with the Industrial Museum at Armley Mills, loads of different organisations throughout the city who were all really, really helpful. People Matters as well. And once the film was finished, it's been shown worldwide. It's been shown by Inclusion International. So people all over the world, people in Argentina, people in South Africa, people all over the world through these webinars have seen the film that we've created and can see the amazing work that's happening with people with learning disabilities in Leeds. But the film also has a really strong message as to why, you know, places need to be more inclusive and why they need to be thinking about that. So that film is also on the Being Employed Leeds website, and it's also going to be screened in the market this week. Another piece of work that I've been involved in around employment is, again, with the NHS Learning Disability team. So I worked really closely with Amy and Sean Webster, MBE, and Dominic Ryan, who were really interested in the idea of video CVs. So there was one member of their team, Sean Webster, who had gained employment through a video CV. But when we sort of talked about it and when we looked, we were really struggling to find a guide to making a video CV. So I worked really closely with the guys who really helped me out. Were really quite critical in a very good way to make sure that the work that I was doing was accessible for people. So we made both a written guide for people with learning disabilities using the easy on the eye symbols, easy read, to explain how people can make a video CV. And we also made a video guide to how people with learning disabilities can make a video CV, because we know that can be more accessible for people. Again, they're available on the Being Employed Leeds website for anybody to use, and these are resources that I've been sharing with different organisations, places like Reed, places like the DWP. They're also going to be shared in the Leeds Inclusive Employer Network meetings. So really, these resources are sort of there and existing now, but it's about getting the messages out and making sure that employers are aware and are on side and realise how important it is to make things more inclusive for people with learning disabilities. So yeah, if anybody wants to talk to me a little bit more about the work that I've been doing around employment, as well as general digital inclusion matters, please, please come and speak to me. And thank you so much as well for Dominique and everybody for being so sort of supportive, really, with my work. And if anybody's got any questions, just please come and find me at the end. Thank you.
I made a video CV at People Matters from my job at Royal Mencap, which I got as a community connector. The People Matters did a session on video CVs, which were good. At Forum Central, I attended Leeds Inclusive Employers Network event recently. A person was there with lived experience of a learning disability, who did an internship at Lighthouse Futures Trust and is now working at HMRC full-time. There were 2 other people there with learning disabilities who are looking for jobs currently. Communicate and link up various third sector organisations around employment in Leeds, focusing on autism and learning disabilities. Matt, would you like to say more about our Access to Work project?
Hello, can everyone hear me? Yeah, awesome, lovely. Hi, my name's Matt. I work for Royal Mencap as the community partner for Leeds. Very briefly, my job and my role is about looking at all the great things that go on in Leeds if you've got a learning disability, and then looking at ways to help make those even better. One of the main things we've done is we've created a volunteering opportunity called the Positive Changes Group. I'm thrilled to say that there's quite a few people in the room that I can see who volunteer with us, which is really nice to see. I also, since January, have been working alongside Robert and our other colleague Maisie. Maisie's currently down at Leeds Market getting all the stalls set up for this afternoon. And we've been working with Robert and Maisie as community connectors. And as Robert said, one of the things that we noticed that was really important for us was to make sure that we were able to take video CVs as an application. Since Robert and Maisie have been working with us, I've been fortunate enough to be supported by an organisation called Positive Futures, who offer job coaching for people. And in order to do that, they've been applying for access to work. Hands up people here who have heard that term access to work before. Quite a lot of you. Great. Access to work can be a bit of a nightmare to get. And I'm seeing lots of nods and recognition of that. And for Robert and Maisie in particular, it's been very, very difficult. And there's been a few barriers and things that have come up. One example, Robert, I hope you don't mind if I say this, Robert. In the form, for example, it asks on the form how you'd like to be communicated with. And Robert, you said you specifically wanted it to be done via email because you didn't want to be spoken to on the phone. And then randomly, one Friday afternoon, Robert gets a phone call from a worker from Access to Work saying, we need this being done by this, we need this X, Y, and Z by Monday morning. This is on the phone. And if you don't get it to us by Monday, we'll have to close your application. So it's fair to say that Access to Work has been quite stressful. And stressful mainly for Robert and Maisie, which is not nice to do when you're starting a new job and all the nerves you get from starting a new job as it is. So with that in mind, we got in touch with Dominique and Forum Central, and I know Forum Central have done a lot of work with People's Parliament to outline some of these issues and some of these obstacles that come up with Access to Work. And so with Robert and Maisie's direct experience that they're having right now, we've been working with Forum Central to come up with a bit of a letter, which we're going to be making into an easy read letter, that we can get in touch with the DWP and hopefully further out as well, to identify these issues that are there for people who are applying for Access to Work, in particular those with learning disabilities. We've managed to get in touch with the Health Model Office, which we're hoping to sort of have some talks with. And this is hopefully the start of something really big, which will hopefully not just help Robert and Maisie, but hopefully help everybody here in that stage where they're hoping to work, to get to the point where they're applying for roles in order to get that support that they need. So we're right at the start of it, but it's a really exciting little project. If anyone wants to come and chat with me about it, I'll be down at Leeds Market after this, so just come down and say hello. And that's it. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to say thanks, Nikki and Matt, so far for speaking about some of the work that we've all been doing, and to say thanks to everyone else for contributing so far to this easy read and accessible letter, where we're hoping to actually say what are the solutions to these problems rather than saying what isn't working well. And just to say thank you to Councillor Kevin Ritchie, because I know at People's Parliament you said you'd kindly share it with our local MP to hopefully take it further and outline some of these issues and see what we can actually do here locally in Leeds to make a difference, and hopefully that process will be better for all of us. But linking back to some of the other points about accessibility, at Forum Central we've been trying to put this into practice ourselves. So we've recently got a job opportunity for a person with a learning disability to be a co-coordinator on the employment task group. So hopefully someone else to join me and Robert in our little team and to expand on the work that's all around employment in Leeds. So that is also on the Being Employed website. So I would say look on it. It's a brilliant site. It's super accessible. So have a look on there, and I'd encourage you all, if you're interested, do apply. But we said one thing was really important. We're not going to expect cover letters and all these extra things that make it really difficult to apply. And we said we really do welcome video CVs. And there's loads of people here today, so if you're a bit lost and confused and you're not sure where to start, do speak to me, Nikki, Matt, anyone who's here, and we'll do what we can to help you. But I'll just hand over to Amy, Dom and team. Is there anything that you wanted to say around co-production and the video CVs? Because co-production is so important to actually help people to stay in work.
Yeah. About co-production, it's very important to include everyone to, because we've as a team we've changed our outlook, and you have to we've included certain teams in our the NHS has to work with us, and we've found that very useful, because in the past we were like, they said to us, just gave it to us and just did it for them, but I found it very useful having their input and having also each other's input, and we've even set up a co-production cafe at St Mary's, which our service users and have their say and of different topics. Like, for example, we did a sepsis poster, and we had someone come in to our the St Mary's to have their input, and we had some people come in and change their strategy of the poster. So, okay, yeah, and we also, and we've done all, other co-production projects as well, and it's useful for having our service users' input and or anyone's input. So we run the co-production cafes Wednesdays or Tuesdays, so everyone's welcome. You just need to contact us to find out more information. Yeah.
So one thing when we always speak to people, so when we've been to People's Parliament, and even when I used to work within, you know, the wider third sector, one thing we always hear from people is, with learning disabilities, we want more employment opportunities. We want to actually be able to get into employment and have the same opportunities as everyone else. So we, as a task group, we do have a challenge for the council, and it is that by council chambers takeover next year, we would like to see the number of people with learning disabilities employed to increase. So that's our challenge, and see where we are next year. But that's one of our asks, isn't it? Cool, but I'll hand over to you, Robert.
All right. Yeah. Before we hand over to being safe, can you tell us what you want to make employment better for people with learning disabilities?
Phil? Yeah.
I'm sorry if we... I can't hear what it says, can you? Perhaps if you could repeat the question, because without the microphone it's hard for us to hear.
A microphone?
Yeah, they weren't working a minute then, but do you want to say it again, Phil, with your microphone?
Outside, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? You've told our job, you've not mentioned benefits, and I would have put benefits. I would warned, you've not resources, and what bad, our benefits.
So that's something else that's come up at the task group, and that, you know, different organisations and people with lived experience hoping to work on. And actually, because the thing is with benefits, you can't create one resource because everyone's so different. So depending on your situation, how many hours you work, what benefits you get could be different. So for some people, that if you work less than 16 hours, you might be unaffected, but that might be different depending on, so it's about thinking when there are those changes. Or I know lots of people who do lots of artwork and, you know, they are artists and they get commissions on the work, but that makes being self-employed really difficult when you're also needing benefits and access to certain things. So there's a huge barrier there, and it can also be a really scary process, I think, leaving something and not being sure how it works and what it might look like.
I'm sorry, Dominic, I'm just wrong. There's now mentioned top benefits with disabled people. All talk about employment and jobs. You have not mentioned disabled people. We need to talk about disabled people, not self-employed people, or that's another thing, including disabled people. So talk about disabled people and benefits.
Yeah, and you're right, Phil, and there isn't a clear answer to that as how we can make it better, but we are working on it. And Robert, you want to say?
Yeah. If you get personal independence payment, work doesn't affect that. If you get universal credit and you have limited capability for work, by if they think you have limited capability for work, the universal credit DWP, then you can get a higher work allowance. So you can earn so much money before it affects your universal credit.
I think the whole issue of benefits is really quite complicated and detailed, and it might be better to continue that particular discussion outside of this room rather than carrying it on. Em's got an announcement.
One more question, guys, and we've got to move on.
David?
Hiya. Near me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's David. I do help people, land natives. My youth team, that me, and Amy, and Deb, ever a team, and my job, we're doing, and deaf training, Leeds, doctors, nurses, everything, and people there. We need people there, to support that team. And in my team, people there, we need people there, to support that. We need a living team, we living. And people there, we need people there, we need help. And doctors, nurses, and AS team, and people there. We need people there. We need help to support us back on the women's team. And we need people there. We need help to support us, my team, and all our team. And we need people there to help to support us. And people Leeds, we need pay for that job we're doing. And we need people there, we need people there. We then up your health, you are. And we are like buses and port. And a lot of me. We need people there, that's right.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Now we're going to being safe.
Now we have being safe. With
Put your microphone on. You show me how to do it. Take that one.
Yeah. Press it again.
Now, sorry.
Take that one. Oh, you can hear
My
me
name's
now.
Alan. I'm gonna, Lydia's gonna speak about about transport, and then you could come up and do about the buses.
But today, we're going to talk about the Being Safe group as well, aren't we, today, Alan?
Where are you?
Yeah.
Be safe.
Yes. So do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Chris Charlton.
And my name's Zoe Bourne, and I'm the Chief Executive of Aspire and also supporting the Being Safe task group with their group. We just wanted to spend a bit of time, like Dominique and Robert, talking a little bit about our group. We've just had one meeting because it's been on pause for a little while, so we had a regroup meeting in March. And we're just going to talk through some of the things that came up at that meeting, because you were both there, weren't you?
Yeah, we were.
Okay. So when we were at the meeting, we came back together, didn't we? And we talked about some of the things that are important about being safe and what does that mean to us as a group. Can we remember some of the things that we said we wanted people to feel? What did we write down?
We've got feel safe.
That's right.
Keep people informed about how they can feel safe in Leeds.
Yeah, well done. So we talked, didn't we, about the purpose being about people feeling safe, but there was lots of different people we needed to involve, like other sections, like the transport groups.
We did, yeah.
And the police, and we started to think about who are all the other groups that can help us with how we feel safe. So we had a really good chat, didn't we, in the room, and everybody that was there.
We did.
Yeah. And we talked. Can you remember, Chris? We talked to the hate crime coordinator, didn't we?
And we talked to the hate crime coordinator, if anybody's like got any problems with hate crime.
Yeah.
And what you can do, you can ring a phone number.
You can. Can we remember what that number was? No, that's all right. We wrote it down, didn't we?
But what you can do, if you have got any problems, you can ring the hate crime.
Yes. So
You can like ring the hate crime place, you can. And what they will do is they tell you, they will help you out and tell you what the problems,
That's right.
what to do on hate crime, and that we will do.
That's right. We invited.
That's what we will do.
We did. We invited Kath Hibbert and colleagues from the hate crime coordinators across Leeds. So there is a hub in each of the areas of South, West and East Leeds, and a hate crime coordinator, which we're quite fortunate to have, because not all authorities have those hate crime coordinators. So they came to the group, didn't they?
Yeah.
And they introduced themselves. And they told us about 101, but they also told us about these hubs that you could talk, where you could talk with the hate crime coordinators themselves.
Yeah.
And some people talked about hate crime on the day, didn't they? And they had a private conversation,
We did.
which was helpful. So, and those community hubs are in centres across Leeds. There's one at Kentmere Community Centre, and there's one opening up shortly in the south as well. So we're going to keep inviting those people.
Just to let people know, if you want to talk to people privately or go out and talk to somebody private about the hate crime, if you don't want anybody to listen, you don't have to let anybody listen to it if you want to talk privately to anybody.
And you can take with you, you can take a family member with you, can't you, or your support worker, or a friend.
Our staff.
Or you could take a friend with you, want to take a friend with you.
Yeah,
That's what you can do.
that's right.
Back.
Your staff over there.
My visit ladies.
Yeah.
One of them.
Those staff over there that yesterday you told me were called Cagney and Lacey. I'm not sure if that's their names. It might be, but yes.
Like if one's with the staff,
Yes.
their staff can go to it.
That's right.
And
yeah.
if you want to talk about what happened about hate crime or anything like that,
Yeah.
what you can do is you could talk about with yourself. You could talk in front of a group,
Yeah.
or you can talk privately if you want to talk
That's right,
private.
and that's really important.
That is very important to talk privately if you want to talk private.
So we're going to make sure that Kath and Angela and Kay from the Hate Crime Coordination Group come to our meetings, and then we can talk to them about other things we could do or how we might be able to expand and help them with their work as well. The other thing we talked about, can you remember, we talked about a scheme that we've got in Leeds, the Safe Places scheme. Yeah? We talked about the Safe Places scheme, didn't we? And we had...
We did.
Carol from Aspire come to talk about that, and she was talking about how the Safe Places scheme's developed since 2010, and it started in Leeds bus station many years ago. And we were talking about that had been a very successful scheme, and there was lots of members of that scheme, 400 plus registered members, and 100 plus safe place providers. But we talked about how that had to be paused, didn't we, because of that COVID pandemic. Do you remember?
I know.
So we all remember that, don't we? But since that pandemic, we talked about actually what the next steps are for the hate crime, for the Safe Places audit, didn't we? Yeah. Remember what we talked about? We talked about how we needed to look at them again, because some of them might be closed.
Yeah. Or some of them might be out of date.
Might be out of date. They might need some more training. Some of the safe places might need new training, or they might not want to be a safe place anymore.
Don't forget, you have got the safe places at your centres and all.
Yes.
You've got, like Loop 1.
Yes, that's right.
Hillside's a safe place.
Yeah.
Trying to think where else.
Yeah, we've got two over there.
And we were talking yesterday, Chris, weren't we, about once we've re-looked at establishing those safe places again, and we've made sure that they still want to be safe places, and that they know what they need to do, that one of our priorities is to expand that, so we can have more safe places.
If anybody does want any more safe places, all you need to do is ring the safe place member.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And ask for another one, and what we will do is we'll actually send it to you, or what we can do is we can fetch them to you.
That's right.
That's what we can do.
We can let people know and signpost people, can't we, so they know what to do.
Or do it in the message to you.
Yeah. So one of the things we talked about was how we refresh the work of the safe places, but also how we introduce the audit as well, so that we've got people with lived experience involved. And that's something that we'll be looking at this year as part of Aspire, but also part of the Safe Places and Being Safe group. We'll be looking at actually the quality of those safe places, making sure they all know how to support people, and if not, offering that training. And also advertising them again, I think, as well. I think making sure people know where we've got safe places.
If you can see,
that's right.
If you can see what is what's behind you, the safe places there. What tells you what different centres you can get, where you can get them from.
Yeah. So as a Being Safe group, we're gonna make sure. We're going to task Aspire, aren't we? Make sure that they're checked, and we're going to look at expanding them, aren't we? Making sure people know where they are.
And we are going to check and all if we have the right dates.
That's right.
That's what we are going to do.
That's right. We are.
That's David. It's going to be about travel.
Yes. David's going to talk about travel in a bit.
In a bit.
But one of the things we talked about with David's group about transport was how the groups, all of the groups, how they cross over. The employment group, the being healthy, how all of our groups come together, and they have crossover, don't they? Because
they do.
Lots of things about being safer about on transport. So we had a discussion about that in the meeting.
We did.
Shall we just remind people of the things that we said, the other things that we said we'd already done? Do you want to read this? Because we talked about this, didn't we? Some of the things that we've done already. Can you remember?
Yep. What have...
This one.
And make crime, training in schools, safe place scheme, people parliament, Leeds safeguarding adult board,
citizens
panel,
people, that's
ambassador with lived experience.
Okay. So we talked through some of the hate and make crime training that's happened in schools through Leap 1 and other partners, and said how valuable it would be to relook at that, and actually what does that mean for us, how can we engage some of that work again. So that's another priority we've set ourselves. And what else did we say we wanted to do?
Return of good life leaders.
Yeah, so we wanted to work with carers and customers to look at the return of good lives leaders, because we were talking about how important that was, wasn't we, the quality.
And just to tell you, if you want a safe place, you can put a safe place in respite.
Yes,
I know you can.
You can.
That's what you can do.
Yeah. So the Good Lives Leaders project was very much about customers and carers being part of that check of quality in supported living in people's homes, and that kind of, not just the CQC who inspect our services, but that actually the voice of carers and customers telling us things that needs to change or things we can improve is really, really important. Yeah, you're part of that as well, Gavin.
I'm part of that. Yeah, people who can't walk.
That's right, exactly. So we were talking about how we can perhaps work with Lynn, who's here, hi Lynn, and others, to redevelop or look at that project and think about how that might link with our being safe priorities.
Actually, have mum over there.
It is. There's lots of people who recognise today.
I think it'd be a nice idea to work with Lynn and Ashley.
Yeah.
If she help us out, if she help out, do that for us.
That's right.
That's good.
So when we'd had that discussion, we were ready for a cup of tea, weren't we? So we had a coffee and a cup of tea, and then
I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but we are running terribly late. I know that's not your fault, but things were delayed to the start, but we're just not going to have time to get through everybody and finish by 12 o'clock, and we do need to have a break. So is there anything, well, there's no time for questions, I'm afraid, but is there anything you'd like to say just to finish it up in 30 seconds?
to do then was think about what we wanted to do at the next meeting. So we said we needed to develop some rules about who we wanted to attend, didn't we? And we wanted to widen the membership so that everybody that was part of what we think is being safe were at the meeting. Okay? We wanted to look out for opportunities to market the being safe, like the market stall events or other places where we could tell others what we're doing across the city.
Yeah.
And we wanted to invite other people to speak at our meetings.
If you wanted, people can be a member of Safe Places.
They can, and we'll make sure we share that information.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
We covered everything.
Think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's teas and coffees. We're just going to take a break. And what time?
As soon as possible.
Can you come back as soon as possible, please?
Yeah, by 20 past.
By 20 past 11, can everyone be back?
And I think we're going to have, let's turn it off. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. We're going to make a start again. We're going to make a start. We're going to make a start again because otherwise we won't. So I'll ask Em to introduce it in a minute, but just to let you know, because of time going on so fast, there's only 10 minutes for each section, not 15 minutes, just 10 minutes. And there's no time for questions either. So after 10 minutes, I'm going to make signals to you to please finish up. Okay? So
Next, we have Victoria Renwick, and she's going to talk about being well.
Hiya, thanks everybody. Unfortunately, the co-chair of the Being Well task group wasn't able to be here today, so I'm going to go through some of the main points and then we're going to hear about one of the projects that's been happening. So the Being Well task group works to help people to stay healthy and be able to get the right help from services when they need it. So there's lots of work that's been done by all of the different members. So I'll tell you about a few of those now. So in the strategy we've got, I'm supported to have good health. And in that, the health facilitation team have helped set up the Move More project. So people get a pedometer, but rather than just count steps, it's about doing any sort of activity to try and stay healthy. Public Health have looked at how to make leisure centres more accessible, and the co-chair of the Being Well task group, Ian, he's going to be helping them on that going forward. We've heard from the Learning from Lives and Deaths programme, which that's to make sure that when somebody who has a learning disability has died, that they look at that person's health that they received so that they can share the good practice that happened, but then look at the things that didn't go so well and make sure that we're making improvements on those. And Audrey worked, who works with me, worked with Dominique to do a couple of events there so that people could actually know a bit more about that and why it's important that they stay healthy, how to stay healthy, and they linked in with services, but also about that they take control of making decisions about their lives and what they would like. So the next part of the strategy is I'm supported to access the right services to keep healthy. And we've heard from one person today. We've heard from Nikki and 100% digital, and that's one of our aims, is to make sure that health services are starting to use apps and things like that more, but people found that they couldn't access those. So we've had that support there, and Nikki's, her and her team have also helped with lots of other projects to make sure that they are digitally enabled so that people have got that option. Public Health have developed, they sponsored a people with lived experience to work with a poet to make the 4 Ways for Cancer Prevention film. The health facilitation team deliver Restore 2 training, which helps people, paid and unpaid carers, to recognise when somebody's not well and becoming worse, and how to make sure that they communicate that well to the GP so that the person gets the help that they need. We've had a presentation from the long COVID team because they said they'd not had any referrals for a person who has a learning disability. And we worked with them to try and see whether that was it that people didn't know about the service, or that people didn't realise when they had long COVID, so they didn't try to access the service. And they've worked to make sure that their pathway is accessible and they've got easy read information. And there's lots been done on flu and COVID vaccinations, so there's lots of easy read information and presentations. We did the one at the Learning Disability Partnership Board was last October, so it coincided with when the vaccinations were given out to make sure that people know about those and why they're so important. In the part of the strategy that I have good communication with health experts and receive reasonable adjustments when I need them. The learning disability specialists in all 3 trusts in Leeds give support to the people that work there to make sure that they look after people properly. And then, as we say, there's lots of easy read information that's been developed, and that's available on the Get Checked Out website at LYPFT and the Leeds Teaching Hospital website. And also, we shared that with Through the Maze, and then they all always sort of put those things out for us and any of the services that come to us. So this has been lots of information, as we say, around flu and COVID, but more recently there was a lot of diabetes information, because lots of people who have a learning disability have diabetes as well. The health organisations work together to make sure that they're knowing who's got a learning disability, because that's one of the problems, is not knowing who has one. And last year, Leeds Community Hospital actually flagged learning disability on their reporting system, so that they can know that when there's issues specifically happening to people who have a learning disability, and so that then they can try and help put that right. In the signposting section, we've had various different services come and present, and then we've spoken to them about maybe how they could make their service a bit better. So this has included dementia, the health and wellbeing events, what's on your mind vaccination events. We've heard from Outspoken, helping people talk about their sexuality and access services, Lippy People's bereavement films, Leap One Feel Good Fridays, and the wellbeing cafes for culturally diverse people, and the digital walks that Matt's done. So we've shared that information. In the reviewing health services section, Ian, the co-chair, actually helped with doing the interviews at LCH for a nurse and a team manager, and our team members have also been involved in Leeds Trinity University, setting up the Learning Disability Nursing course. And again, 100% digital, looking at the NHS app and the accessible guide to that. So, unfortunately, the person that was going to talk to us about the Bigger Labels project wasn't able to come. So at short notice, I'd just like to thank Amy and Dom, who will just talk a little bit about this, and then if they can come back to me and I can do the question for the council, please.
Thank you. So the Bigger, Better Labels project is all about making labels on your medication easier to read, and we've come to the People's Parliament before, and you've helped us with stories around that. Dom, do you want to just say why it's important?
It's important to have a bigger label, because someone might have an overdose and find it struggle to read the small print. So it's very important to get awareness that some people might need a bigger label for the medication, so they can easily understand it and read. They might end up in hospital if they have the wrong dosage, and we don't need that.
We don't. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for that. So as David said, we really need people to be involved. So if anybody would like to join the the Being Well task group, I will be around and down at the market. So come to me about that. But one of the questions that we wanted, that Ian felt and Sean that was going to be helping speak today thought was important, was about saying it is important that people with lived experience are involved, but why are they always the one that do that for free? And what commitment can we give to sort of helping that people be paid, even if it's like the co-chairs of the task groups, you know?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, and thank you for being so Thank you for being so quick as well. Thanks, Victoria. Next up, we have Being Connected, Sarah.
Just waiting for it to come on. I'm not here alone. I've also got Kenny over there, who's the co-chair. And I'm hoping to start off by Kenny doing a wonderful plug for what's happening in the market. Go, Kenny.
Thank you. We're doing like different stalls for different stuff.
Fantastic. And what's happening to get to the market?
Oh, it's a march. It's 12:30. I'll be filming that to pass on.
So Kenny's telling us about that in the market, right where the food is. So do people know where Manjit's Kitchen is? Yes. Yeah. You want to get yourselves down there. There's lots of organisations. There's People Matters, People in Action, Pyramid, Leap, Change. Many organisations. So go and find out some information about them. And at 12:30, if we gather outside, I've got the route. We've got placards that we weren't allowed to bring up here, but I've got downstairs ready. And I've sneaked some in if anyone uses a wheelchair and wants to attach them. So that's some of the work we've been doing. But it's not all the work that we do, so it does take quite a lot of energy to get things together. But we've also looked at bereavement because that's something that's happened to a lot of people, and even if somebody close to you hasn't died, we went through the loss of COVID. And it was rubbish. And I think all of us are starting to go, oh, hang on a minute, that was rubbish. So because of that, there's not just us that have got funding. So as an organisation, we got funding from Jimbo's fund. So I run sessions for people with learning difficulties. There's another course starting in October. But also Lippy People. And I wondered whether Kenny would just like to say something about the work that he did with Lippy People.
Yeah, so we were talking about like, what's it now? Trying to think now.
So you made a film, didn't you, Kenny?
Yeah.
So just tell us about the film you made with Lippy People.
Oh, we made films like different places and roadworks and...
Yeah, so somebody who had died, you had a chance to work over 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And you can just go on Lippy People, can't you, and see those films?
Yeah, might be helping them if new people go there. I'll be helping them as well.
So you're going to help them on the way forward because they've got some more funding and they're going to do some more sessions. They've just started a new course, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I know the Carers Reference Group, some of you've made some amazing films, and your family members. So that's something else that's gone on. And the other thing is that sort of Advonet and us have sort of done lots about looking at what gets in the way. So we do Learning Disability Week, and it's really great, isn't it? I mean, all of you are going to be doing things for the whole week. Aspire gets so many things happening, but so do lots of other organisations. But we're really conscious, why aren't people doing it the rest of the year? So we're lucky in Leeds. We've got lots of organisations that support people with learning difficulties. I think we're really, really rich in Leeds with what we've got to offer. But when we're asking people, why don't you do things? So we've had lots of events where we ask people about it. And people, transport, that can be a real issue for people. Really aware of that. And also people not having the support to go to places, especially if you don't need a lot of support, you don't get a lot, do you? So it can be hard. So we've been trying to look at what's local to people. So here I would like to introduce the Pass It On people and our chair, Vicky Hiles. And they're going to tell you some of the things they do locally. Shall I start over there?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Vicky, the chair connecting the North. And what I did locally, I did it for about 12 weeks, and it was Sarah that found it, looking online. I did a blogging course, doing podcasts at Chapel FM in Seacroft. I don't know if anyone's been before or heard of it. I did a course there and it was fantastic. So I learned how to do interviewing and how to edit and how to talk to people a lot more but better professionally, and it was fantastic and it was brilliant. I'd recommend it to anyone.
Brilliant, thank you.
So go.
Go for it.
Hi, my name's Courtney. I'm talking about the Playhouse. I went to the Playhouse a couple of weeks ago to see the Jamaican roots, talk about the history.
So it was about Black history that you went and saw?
And it was very interesting.
Fantastic. And why I was interested in Courtney saying about sort of what Leeds Playhouse are doing, they also do courses for younger people who learn difficulties. It's worth knowing they do sort of courses for people up to 25, and the Pass It On people are soon going to do a visit and interview them about what's on, so we'll have more information for you at another point.
My name's Sapphire, and what I like to do is disco club globe party nights at Roundy Road.
So Rounday Road, and you go, and when's the next time?
3rd of July.
And Courtney goes, and George goes. Yeah?
Couldn't be yet, but I'm going to go.
What happened to the beautiful Octopussy Club? Why is it not functioning anymore?
It is. It's back and running. Yeah. It's on the Playhouse website, and as soon...
I'm sorry, if everyone talks at once, no one can hear. Is that... Have you all finished what you were saying? If you could please let everybody finish, and then questions can perhaps be asked later. Okay.
My name is Joy Allen, and I go to New Worker Centre near me. They will do it. They can do sewing, talking, cafe. It's nice there and it's free. That pays free. And then it's handy for me. I can walk there and walk home, and I go with my friend, Sam.
So my name's Tanya, and just about round the corner from my house there's the very good factory. There's quite a lot of very good activities there.
Which one is it, Pete? My name's George. I went to that. Doing music, and then played instruments.
Can you show us?
Yeah, I can see it.
Summer bands in the park, you went to the Meanwood one.
Yeah.
But they're in all your local parks. Is it normally on a Sunday?
I don't know, it's just different parks. Bramley and stuff like that. Bramley and stuff.
So
it could
Bramley.
Bramley, probably, wherever there's a park of them.
Yeah, so it's on Leeds City Council website. You can go and find out, and yeah, all the way through the summer, it's a really nice thing to do on a Sunday. Yeah. No, it's just on a Sunday. They'll have a band in a park, and it could be all sorts, like a jazz or. Yeah. So thank you, George. Have we got any minutes left to just ask if there's anyone in the audience or anyone here that has any local places they know of that they'd like to share?
Well, I think perhaps we'll carry on with the presentations, and if there's any time at the end, because we can go on till 12:15, we'll see if there's any time for any questions. But I don't want to eat into someone else's time. Of course. Sorry, we can't really have any questions now. As I said, we'll have the next presentation, then there might be time for some people to say some things that I know you all want to say, but I want to get through all the presentations first.
Next we have David and Jake, and they're going to talk about transport. Being connected.
Hiya, thank you all. It's lovely to see so many familiar faces, and I just wanted to start by thanking people who I've met and worked with over the years. So I greatly appreciate your time and help with everything. So I'm a social worker and I work on the travel project for adults, and you'll often find me at Tech North, although I do travel around Leeds to various different places. I also lead on the travel task group, and I'm lucky enough, and we're lucky enough, to have 5 of the travel ambassadors here today. So not all of them can speak, but I'll ask Bernie and Kenny if they want to just sort of give a quick brief introduction about what they do.
Yeah, we have meetings. We had a meeting yesterday. We're making videos with Nikki and Matt. We're doing like going around. We're going to take videos about buses and like if people got complaints. Some of it we'll help them. Like if they can't do forms, we do it for them. If people can't do them.
Hi everybody, my name's Bernie, and yesterday we did a video to tell people who's an adult with learning disabilities how to complain or make a compliment, because it's important for people with learning disabilities to get out in the community and make friends, not being stuck at home.
Excellent, thank you both. And now I'll ask Jake, who is a travel training mentor. So one thing I should mention is that during COVID, which was a terrible time for many people, children's services and adult services basically funded a paid position for a travel training mentor, and that is Jake, and Jake's going to share with you today his experience of doing the travel training course.
That's difficult. You don't know how to say it, David.
That's fine.
Need some help.
Not a problem. What Jake mentioned from his course is that for those who are seeking their own style and sense of freedom and independence, the course is easy, but some people may find some things hard. For example, they may struggle with time management or
Others with handling money.
absolutely telling, finding things. For example, they might need help where to go, and you get trained all of that on the course. Some people may have visual or audio impairments.
Which means they won't be able to hear too well or may not be able to speak too well.
Yeah, and they may need more help or written reminders about how to do things correct. Verbal prompts from parents, carers, friends are also useful when things are forgotten or situations prove difficult to resolve. Electronic or written schedules can also simplify journeys, and taking notes, record keeping and having medical information and emergency contacts is always a good idea.
Yes, especially for me, David, with my epilepsy, everybody's got to know what's happening with me all the time.
Absolutely.
Family, parents, carers,
And
everybody.
Jake, what did you say about the course?
I found it whilst I was on the course that it was lots of fun and has something for almost everybody in it that goes on it.
Absolutely. So just in summary on travel training, that's one of the key things about the travel task group, and COVID kind of brought that to an end, but it is restarting. As I say, it's a joint project with Children's, so a lot of people who've maybe gone through Leeds City College or the Silks in Leeds may have come across travel training, and it's something we wanted to extend into adulthood for people to be involved in. Some of the other stuff, just briefly, that we're involved with, the aims of the travel project is to try and promote customers to be as independent as they can. It's a really good life skill for people to be able to travel. So we promote that round at Silks, colleges, day opportunities. We go to team meetings, all sorts of things to promote that. We do work very closely and in partnership with all the travel and transport agencies around Leeds. So that includes sort of Leeds Taxi Licensing, West Yorkshire Combined Authority, even the police and British Transport Police. So I'll just share with you as a final point, I know we're pushed for time, just share with you some of the successes that we've done. So as I say, after COVID, we remobilised people's transport for day centres, colleges, things like that. And I think you're looking at around 4,000 people that benefit from the council transport in Leeds. So that was a big job, but we managed to do that. As I mentioned, we've created a paid position for Jake, who, as travel training mentor, helps us do everything around promotion and working with people. We've done a lot of work with Nicky Lines on Leeds digital stuff. It's been great for us because that's another area that the task group wanted to focus on, was technology. So Nicky's helped us no end with lots of stuff. I won't go into now, but loads of stuff. So great, thank you for that. We work with the road safety team in Leeds. Some of you may have seen they launched Vision Zero this year, which is ultimately a plan to try and reduce road casualties in Leeds over the next, I think it's 10, 15 years or so. As I say, we work with taxi licensing. Probably the best thing I can share with you about that, as I know people will have difficulties and issues with taxis, and I don't know that I can solve all of those problems, but we certainly have the right people now that we can direct complaints and compliments to with regards to that. And we've got some joint work coming up with Physical Sensory Impairment Network, and as Ambassadors mentioned, we've been working on videos, how to complain and compliment for buses, and hopefully we'll be carrying that on with learning disability awareness training, which is something we're passionate about, and the ambassadors feel that all bus drivers and taxi drivers could, they could do all that better. So as a final point, I know there's going to be loads of questions and no time, but I will make the offer that I will be down at the market, so if anyone wants to come and talk to me, that would be lovely. And thank you for listening.
Guys, we've got 10 minutes for questions and comments if anyone wants to say anything.
Hi, my name is Ree. I work as the Youth Engagement Officer from Scope. It's great to be here today. I just wanted to share with you all that on the Friday the 28th of July, we're going to be hosting a Disability Pride at Tetley. And we are putting a call out for any disabled talent who would like to take part in that. It is a paid opportunity as well. So if anyone would like to talk to me at the market, that would be great. There's no age restriction. I also run the Youth Collective in Leeds, which is a group for young people aged 18 to 30. I know that this might not apply for a lot of you in this room, but I would really encourage any young people with learning disabilities to talk to me or anyone that you might know. Because we're trying to set up projects with funding that we have available, and it would be great to set up any projects that could benefit the learning disability community in Leeds. So yeah, any questions, let's save them for after so someone else can get a little bit in, but thank you.
Thank you for the digital ban of transport, and it's good what it's about transport. I was an independent traveller. We did a meeting with David. David? Yeah, I like doing it because it's in my heart, because David's kind to us, and staff always help us. Like, you get upset and just get out of your mind. It's nice to listen to people like you. You're a nice person, a good chairperson job, and thank you.
About that, people on buses and people landladies and people like to come, not on that. We need people there, the back on, right off, we're doing, and we need buses, lanes, and lanes. I'm back over the town. We need that off the back, normal. And we need people there. We need people there. They help the part back on us, on network team. Network and people there. We need people that up themselves. We know that part doing. Now back on track now, and we know now, and we do now. We need people housing, we living, right to time, we don't need that. And people there, we need people help the part that, and network team. And people there, we need people, we done up well, and about the help the people on buses, like lampdays, and buses, yeah, and we need people there, they help the part that team, and we need people there, they help people on buses. Lampdays and lampdays. That's right.
Just to respond to the lovely Connecting the North being social people, I've got the date up for John for the Octopus Club. So the next Octopus Club is Monday the 24th of July. And just a bit of a shameless plug, Skyfallers are playing at that gig, which is made up of some of the Aspire band members. So that's a really good evening out for you. And they're also playing at the Fab Club on Scott Hall Road on the 14th of July as well. So there's 2 evenings out. My colleague would just like to say something.
Coming up there.
I can't get you any closer. Say about your holiday.
It's an holiday. Well, if it were holiday, it would rain.
Leslie's going to Wales soon on his holidays.
Wales. Well done.
So, as we plug in events, and there's not many from South Leeds, I'd like to invite you all to Beeston Festival on Saturday in Crossflats Park. And, yep, and then on the 4 Sundays after that, the 1st, the 8th, the 16th and the 23rd, is Bands in the Park in Crossflats Park. So please come along, it's all accessible and there's tea and coffee for sale, so please come and join us, as Chris always does. It starts at 2:30.
One more question or comment?
Hi, thank you for allowing me to make a comment. I just want to say what a fantastic morning we've had today. Thank you for everyone's contributions. It's a shame we had a chance for more questions, but time is time. And thank you to the Lord Mayor for chairing it, co-chairing it with the fabulous Em as well. What we might like to think about, I'm looking at Sarah again, is we did another little session, didn't we, in the chamber where you asked councillors questions, so maybe think about doing that again later in the year. And I'd also like to point out a couple of the councillors have been down today, Councillor Hinchcliffe, Councillor Blackburn, and we've had Councillor Parnham, and I think we've had Councillor Shahzad and Khan as well. And Councillor Lewis, of course, the leader, was here listening. So it's important that your voices are heard, and that's why we're here today to listen to you. And some personal news, I've been asked to continue as Disability Champion for the next council year as well, so I look forward to working with you all over the next year, and looking forward to going down to the market. All right, well done.
So I'm going to close the meeting now, but if everyone makes their way downstairs, we're going to march to the market. So thank you very much for your comments.